Hey everybody, I started filming this video in the beginning of December. I got sick for a month, lost my voice for 3 weeks. It's just kind of coming back now, so I apologize. I've never gone more than like 10 days without putting out a video, and I haven't put out a video in 45 days. So this is a Christmas themed video. I apologize, it's after Christmas, but you know what? Christmas will be back again before you know it. Hey everybody, it's Justin from Built, and this is the xTool M1 Ultra, xTool's newest laser engraver to their ever-expanding lineup. We're going to do a couple Christmas projects today with this machine, but I really want to spend some time deep diving into the new tech in this machine, the innovations in this machine. This might be the ultimate crafting machine, and maybe that is the thing that you are looking for. Maybe you're looking for one of xTool's more higher tier, P2S, F1 Ultra. Still stay with me on this video because there's so much cool tech in this. This is so much of a Swiss Army knife of a machine, and it solves so many problems that I see in our other machines in the lineup that I'm really excited to see where xTool is going. And this is like a crystal ball to me for what I expect to see in 2025 from xTool as well. So let's do a deep dive today on Built. All right, before we get to the projects, let's start looking at all the innovations with this machine that I'm really excited about. So I know it's a weird place to start, but we're going to start with the riser base accessory. If you are getting a laser engraver, you should typically pick a riser base. If you're going to just get one extra thing with it, the riser base is typically what I would recommend. This is way better designed than all the other riser bases for these machines. Typically they're all in a whole bunch of pieces. You have to assemble them with small screws. It takes a little while. This was completely done right out of the box. It is one piece plastic design. I literally pulled it out just like this. It has a built-in steel plate down in the bottom, so if the laser goes through and hits that, you're not in any trouble. It has a neodymium magnet lid in the front, and it houses your rails, so when you place in your honeycomb bed, it's just going to sit on these rails, slide right in. Done. Super easy. This machine is priced at the lower end of xTool's machines, so you're typically going to see beginners adopting this machine as well as people who are just buying it for its good functionality and what it does. So making these things really easy right out of the box is definitely a pro for your laser beginner. Moving from the base, we just literally place the machine right on top of it. Done. Inside the unit, we have a metal base plate with 2 thumb screws. So if we take these 2 little thumb screws out, we can then pick this up and easily remove it to expose our honeycomb bed on top of the riser. So I think that is really cool that it is just so easy to be able to go between these 2 things. I'm just going to put those thumb screws back. Now on the built-in metal plate that's right here, you can see that it has this rectangle here. That's great for positioning your jobs that you're doing. You can also use this sticky mat. This is used for when you're using the vinyl cutter, when you're using fabric or paper and things. It holds your product down onto the surface, and so you can see that it has a place to position this as well. Over on the sides, you'll notice that we have 4 bullseyes, and this is used in conjunction with your cell phone. So what you can do is actually take a picture of this workspace as long as it contains those 4 bullseyes, and then it will import into the software to be able to give you a visual, since this does not come with a camera module itself. Looking at the back of the machine, we have inputs for air assist and fire suppression. I always love seeing fire suppression on xTool products. This is a Class 1 laser product, which means that when you have the lid closed, and it will only operate when the lid is closed, you are safe to use this without goggles. It is perfectly safe to use this machine around other people, around children. This is very, very important. Down on our I/O section, we have the power button, the power cable going in. We have a lock key. So this is a USB little small guy. And basically the machine will not function unless this is inserted in here. So if you're leaving for the day and you don't want anybody to use your machine, you can take this out. Then we have 4 I/O ports here for accessories, and then we have one that's labeled for a monitor. On the back of the unit, there is a vent port, and this does not have a fan built into it. It's just literally a vent going into the main unit. And when you're using the printer or pens or cutter, you don't need a fan here. But when you're using the laser engraver, you do. And so it is now a module that just clicks into the back. And a cool thing about this is it has a data pin set here. And there's 2 receptacles, which means that you could position it in this direction, or you could position it in this direction. So whatever works better for getting it to your either your inline fan or your window to be able to vent this out, that's good. And so you can basically just press this on, click it in, and it's installed. Additionally, 2 buttons to remove it. There's a pre-filter that comes with this as well that you can insert right in here, and that's going to remove some of your bigger particles and, you know, keep things a little bit cleaner before it hits the fan in here. So that is a nice little addition that they add in as well. The M1 Ultra uses a module system, and so they've made it incredibly easy. I really like the way they implemented this. Let's say I wanted to put in the laser module. So this is a 10-watt laser. It also comes in a 20-watt with this machine. On the back of the modules, there is a dovetail rectangle that sticks out. So it will slide right into the back plate. So I will just place it on top, slide it down, and then there is a locking bar that goes across the top. That's it. No screws to undo, no ribbon cables to undo. This is a really intelligent way of adding different modules. I really like it. In addition to the removable modules, there is one module that always stays in position right here. And one of the things that this module does is it has a laser beam that comes down with a crosshair for its positioning. So the positioning is always present no matter what module you have in there. And then it has a neodymium magnetic plate in the front that you can just simply take off. And we can then insert either a cutting tool or we can take a pen and insert it. So this is one of the xTool pens that was included, and there's this nice little adapter here. I just stick the pen in the adapter so it sticks out the bottom. I then insert it into the clamp, hit the little flip block, and it's ready to go. We can then just put the cover back on, and it's ready to draw with our nice pen. Next, we have the carriage module, and this is specifically to be used with our cutting implements. So we have 3 that came with my kit here. This first one is a blade cutting tool. This will be good for paper, for vinyl, for certain fabrics. We then have a transfer tip. This is for foil action. It's basically going to push down on things. And then we have a rotary cutting tool. This is great for fabrics and other things that might bunch as you attempt to cut it. These items are placed in the exact same way. We basically have this nice little clamp that opens up. To insert onto the carriage module, you'll actually see that there's a little arrow at the top of my blade. And so when I put it in, I want to see the arrow, and it has a neodymium magnet that will hold it in place and kind of suck it in there. If I attempt to put it in at a different angle, it doesn't fit. So it has to be placed with the arrow forward. We then close it up, and we can put it back on the assembly. I love how xTool is always big on fire suppression and detection. So there are 3 bubbles inside. There's one in the front as well. These bubbles are fire detection systems. They will shut off power to the laser engraver if it detects active flame inside the unit. Over in the back, we have the port where if you buy the xTool fire suppression system, it will vent CO2 gas if an active flame is detected and put out that flame right away. The next module is the Inkjet module, and this is a pretty interesting one. First, we have a magnetic cover that we remove, and then we have the ink cartridge housing. This has a magnetic tray underneath, and you'll see that there's kind of like a sponge down in the bottom there, and this is to keep the ink cartridge clean and to also keep it from drying out. Now, when we're ready to put in an inkjet cartridge, there are 2 buttons. You squeeze them on both sides of the cartridge. Pops right up there. The inkjet cartridge looks very similar to your typical inkjet cartridge. And so I'm going to take the protective plastic piece off of it. And it is shipped with some tape underneath. So I'm going to pull that off as well. And now this is set to be inserted into the cavity here. The ink cartridge looks very similar to, the old style Inkjet ink cartridges. Want to make sure that the area where the ink comes out is pointing down and the data tape side is pointing up. We're going to put it in. There's a little bit of a spring in here, so you kind of have to push up a little bit as you do this. Sorry, it's tricky, so I'm going to do it off screen. There we go. Then I can push this down and we're all set to go. We need to then insert this module with the dovetails, lock the lever. This is the only module that actually has some sort of cable on it. So we're going to bend that around and there is a port right here where we're going to insert that in, at which point we can then put the cover back on the front. The module comes with a couple other pieces, including this plastic tray. This has a slot cut out of it, and so what we're going to do is slide it into this piece that juts out here, and that way this is perfectly positioned. The little stack of paper the machine will use to clean the printer head, and so you place that on at the top, and then you have that bottom tray that you place right here. Once the print is complete, it's going to come over here, and those magnets are going to just snap it back up into place, so that when it's not in use, it's going to protect the ink from drying out. We have the Inkjet module installed. Let's go ahead and do our first project. I'm going to print a color picture on a pre-cut out puzzle piece. So this is going to be the simplest of projects, and I'm interested to see on a nice white background how vivid this color is going to be when it comes out of the inkjet printer. Obviously, depending on whatever you print on, it's going to have different results based on the color and the type of material that you're using, but this should give us the best results possible. When I use this, I'm going to use the sticky fabric mat because I want to place it onto this surface so it's not going to move. Because the inkjet will be slightly touching it. It's gonna have more movement possibilities than when we're using a laser, for example, so we need to make sure that it stays in place. So I actually just stopped this puzzle piece print. It is doing a good job. You can see like the detail in my wife's dress, but you can see also these bubbles and everything, and that's basically, I bet you if I wipe my finger here, yep, on my finger, it is not adhering to this surface. So this, it's not the printer's fault. It is, I'm using a improper product. So this puzzle piece already has a coating on the outside of it. So obviously the coating is preventing it from being able to absorb the ink. This is a laser product. It's probably not for this. So we're going to go ahead and scrap this. I'm going to put a piece of wood in here, and we're going to try and print on wood and see what type of image we get. So we're now printing on a piece of basswood, and the print is coming out well this time. What I'm going to end up doing is laser cutting this into puzzle pieces after this. But before I do that, I am going to seal the wood. What that's going to do is it's going to lock in this picture so that there isn't going to be any damage to the picture during the laser engraving process. And if we get any sort of, residue from the lasering process on the top, it's really easy to wipe off of a sealed wooden surface. All right, so we just finished. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna try touching the corner up here. It does not appear to still be wet at all. I've installed the laser module, and so we're going to cut out a puzzle piece shape. The settings that I'm using is 100% power on the 10-watt diode laser at 6 as a speed. I ran it on a test piece and it worked fine, so we'll see if it works here. I noticed that when I did the printing, there is a little bit of a discoloration in the corner where it first started. I would attribute that over to running it on this. So I think there was still some ink left over. I'm not penalizing it for that one because honestly, I was running it on an improper surface. I should have probably taken a cloth and wiped off the bottom. That's what the instructions indicate to do. So keep that in mind. If you do have an issue, I would make sure that you clean before you run your next project. All right. And so as you can see, a 10-watt laser can definitely still cut cleanly without much burning or anything on 3mm basswood. Anything thicker than this, it's not really going to be able to cut it, but a 10-watt laser definitely can do that. If you get the 20-watt laser, you'll be able to get substantially thicker, probably 8mm. If you go up to 1/2 inch, it'll technically be able to do it, but you're going to have a lot of char. So this is definitely the right thickness for this, and I think it's pretty good for a puzzle piece. Next up, we're going to do a little lasering. This is a pencil holder that my wife bought for a friend of hers. My wife's a teacher, and she wanted me to engrave on this the other teacher's name. This is where, even though this is a really short, small object, it is too tall for the main work area. So this is where we're going to utilize that riser. Over on the software, I'm going to first do my measurements. So I'm going to lower the lid, hit auto measure. I'm now going to mark my process area, and I'm going to do that with a polygon. What I'm trying to do is make 2 separate boxes for where I want her name. All right, so we're going to go with the recommended power of 65-200. I did a test on that on something else. It seemed pretty light. I'd rather go light since I don't want to ruin this product. I'd rather do it light and have to run 2 passes on it. So let's close the lid. I love how the lid is completely transparent everywhere, so you really have an unobstructed view of what you're doing. Oh, it actually looks silver.
Oh, I like it. I think it looks really good.
Okay, so keep it there.
Yeah.
Once I touch it, I can't do anything.
No, I love it. It's perfect.
All right, the boss likes it. It actually kind of gave it a silvery color, which was unexpected. I thought it was a little bit light. When you're looking at it through the lid, it looks a little bit different, but I think that came out pretty good. It took a total of 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Next, I've inserted a marker. We're going to make a Christmas card. This process is pretty simple. After each color is completed, you just remove that pen, bring out the next color, insert it into the holder, snap it into place, and we're good to go again. I'm now going to use the rotary blade tool on some red cardstock just to cut out some letters for a message inside my card. So here's our card. We drew on the front, and then we cut out the words out of the cardstock for kind of contrast on the inside of the card. In another quality of life advancement, all xTool lasers come with some form of slat to support material, especially if you're going to be cutting. This is the pyramid slat that comes with this one. But what they've done that I really, really like is now we are on a slat tray. And so what I can do is place this tray down. I can add in as many of my pyramids as I want to, just by dropping them down in the tray wherever it's needed. And that's good and fine, but then I can take the entire thing back out again. Even the loose ones, they're sitting in the tray. And so this makes it really easy for me to utilize it, take it away when I don't want it, then just lift up this, use my honeycomb underneath, rather than individually picking up every single one of the slats to remove them, and then you're putting them in a big pile next to the machine. I like this solution a lot better. For my last project, I want to personally engrave a glass Christmas ornament. I actually did 40 of these the other night with my xTool F1 Ultra. That's a pretty fast machine to use this with. But we're going to see if we can do it here with the M1 Ultra. What I'm using is just a roll of tape. It perfectly fits my ornaments so that my ornament's not going to move around once I place it inside. Oh, a tip. When you are doing an ornament, see how you have your loop here and you can see that it is flat. This makes it really easy to do 2 sides of an ornament without having to add like marking tape or use a rotary or things. For this, I'm basically going to lay it flat this way, and then I will turn it over and lay it flat so that I can engrave the other side using this as my reference. So we're going to place this down. I think it came out fantastic, except for the part where we lost a little bit of the design right here because of the curvature of the ball. Now, the M1 Ultra can use a rotary, and what a rotary would do is it would turn this ball to the side and it would spin it as it engraves everything on here. So we're going to just treat this as a test design one. I'm going to show you what to do next with this one to make this look much better. Right now you can see that we've stripped away the paint and it's just glass. We need a little bit of paint inside here just to give it a little bit of contrast. I'm going to remove the top. We're going to take some spray paint here, some white. Just going to angle it inside the ball. And then I'm going to rotate the ball around. And usually I would hold this up in the air so I can see what I'm doing. But obviously you won't see that on the camera that way. So you can see how where the paint has gone, it has really brightened it up. All right, so I just rolled it around pretty good. And this looks fantastic. I wish I had put it on the rotary, but otherwise we have a really nice looking ball here. I actually made about 60 of these the other night for friends to give out for the holidays. We did the happy holidays on one side and when we did each family name on the other side. So super clean. This is about $1 in material. So this is a really cool thing that you can make with the M1 Ultra. All right, so that was the xTool M1 Ultra. Who do I think this machine is for? Well, at around $1,000, this is on the lower end of xTool's price point for their machine. So this is a good first laser if you're getting into laser engraving, because not only are you getting a laser engraver, you're getting all the other features that this machine has to offer as well. It comes in a 10 and 20 watt model. I would highly recommend you just go for the 20 watt model. 10 watts is okay for engraving, but it really doesn't have any cutting capabilities. So at least if you go up to the 20 watt, you're going to get even better engravings, but you're also going to get the ability to cut some thinner materials, particularly if you're using basswood and even up to maybe like 1/4 of an inch, you're going to be able to cut that with a 20 watt diode. Now, this is definitely the ultimate crafting machine. And with that in mind, they've come out with a couple other products too for the crafter in mind. So this is the xTool Smart Press. So if you're going to be doing t-shirts, if you're going to be doing bags and things, this is a really attractive, nice heat press, as well as their little small one. And both of them are controlled wirelessly through their corded or cordless heat controller here. So you can control either one of these from this. That's pretty cool. But the functionality that we have in here, you have a laser engraver, a cutter, you're able to draw, you're able to foil transfer, and you even have a color printer in here as well. So there is a lot of functionality in here that is far beyond what the other crafting machines on the market have. We had a Cricut in the house. As soon as this came in, that got sold. This has now been dubbed my wife's machine in here because she's a teacher, and so she's constantly doing projects for school. And so this to her got her really excited. Obviously, I have all these other xTool laser engravers in here, but there's a lot that this has to offer for somebody like that that's doing a lot more paper products, that's doing stickers and vinyl and different things like that. And this machine really shines with all those things, especially with the safety features as well. Fire suppression, fire detection, class 1 laser. So you can use this in a public setting and not worry about endangering anybody's vision. As well as all the fire features. I'm very happy to see all the quality of life improvements in this machine. As a woodworker, I typically use my P2S and my F1 Ultra. There's a lot in this machine that I want to see in those. So I'm very excited for what's to come from xTool this year. Every single machine that they put out, they're constantly making it better and better and better. And I see that in this machine, and that's what has me excited for 2025. So if you got a lot of good content out of this video, I hope you'll like and subscribe. As always, stay safe in the shop, and I'll see you in the next one.